Good morning. Everybody wave at me that has their camera on. It's good to see everybody. I'm glad to be with you guys today on another Monday. These Mondays, they just keep coming. And just know you guys are welcome to be talking amongst yourselves until I come on. As soon as I start, my part of it, it does start recording, but we cut off the very beginning. So don't feel like you have to come on here and stay on mute even while you're waiting on me to come on here. Say hi to each other, be a part of each other's lives. But here we are. These Mondays roll around as quickly as I can. I can't even believe it how fast the weeks are going. Thank you to those of you who've been sending me testimonies of what you've been getting, and what you've been seeing in these meditations and how you've shared, that they have benefited you. That makes my heart happy. And so I always appreciate those emails. It may take me a minute to get back to you, but just know I read them, and it just makes my heart smile. And so I am so glad because this is something that I believe was a God thing when He told me to start doing these things and doing these meditations. And so I just want them to be a blessing to you. That is my heart in this, is I want them to be a blessing to you. And I want for you to begin to see how you can take the Word of God meditatively, or you can take a devotion and use it meditatively, or you can just be in the middle of something and you can say, you know what, I can meditate on this, and it can be different. It doesn't have to be the way I've always believed it had to be. And so I believe heart work is something that should be used in everyday life because it's transformed my life. You guys know I'm one of those people that I've said over and over again. I'm like, anybody can argue with me about heart work. I don't mind you arguing with me because you're not going to be able to convince me it doesn't work. It may not be working in your life right now, and I'm absolutely okay with you saying it doesn't work in your life right now. That's okay. We can work together. And I'm gonna do everything I can to help you see that it can work. It does work. And so I just love that so many of you are coming on Mondays. And I try to be, as I've said before, I try to be very aware of the timing and make sure that we get on and we get off. And so one of the things I want to talk today, if everybody will make sure that you're on mute, just because that way we're recording, and I will probably use these at some point in some way. So I just want to, okay, looks like I think everybody is. But one of the things I want you to be aware of as far as meditation is your breathing. Breathing is very, very important. There's a lot to it that I'm not going to go into. I'm not a scientific person. I don't need all the science. If you want to look it all up, you are welcome to. But breathing in as slowly as you can, holding it for a couple of counts, and then letting it out is very important. And so that's one of the things I mention, every day or every time we do this is, when we are going into a meditation, is think about your breathing. So go ahead now, and even now, just start thinking about the fact that I'm going to breathe in, hold for a couple of counts, and breathe out as slowly as I can. And then I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to hold for a couple of counts, and then I'm going to breathe out. And now, as I was praying this morning about this time together, I felt like the Lord said, there's a lot of heaviness. There's a lot of heaviness right now. When we look at what's going on in the world, when we look at the fact that we're heading into the holidays, when we look at how everything is, there's a lot of heaviness. And so, one of my favorite passages is in Matthew 11. And today I'm going to read it to you from the Message translation, not the Passion. I know that's a shock. I'm not reading it to you from the Passion. I'm reading it to you from the Message. And this is the passage that I've gone to over and over again. But Jesus is talking about how he's worked so hard in certain areas and he's done healings and he's taken care of things for people and he's healed them and they haven't accepted it. And he's frustrated. You can tell by the way he's talking, he's frustrated. But in around verse probably 20, I don't know, 25 maybe. But it says abruptly, even when he's frustrated, abruptly, Jesus broke into prayer. Thank you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth. You've concealed your ways from sophisticates and know-it-alls, but spelled them out clearly to ordinary people. I am an ordinary person. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm very, very ordinary, and I love that. So I'm the one that Jesus is talking to. Yes, Father, that's the way you like to work. Jesus resumed talking to the people, but now tenderly. So he's been frustrated over how people have not been receiving what he was offering. And he begins to pray. And then he looks at the people with tenderness. And that tenderness always makes me think of God's compassion. And the word compassion is actually God's actions that are motivated by his emotions. And I'm not trying to say that God has emotions like we have them, but compassion is something that has been motivated. And so when Jesus is looking at the people and he's looking at them tenderly, it says, "The Father has given me all these things to do and say." This is a unique father-son operation coming out of a father-son intimacies and knowledge. Isn't that a neat way to think about it? That it is a father-son operation. What Jesus did, it was a father-son operation, and it came out of their intimacy together. No one knows the Son the way that the Father does, nor the Father the way that the Son does. But I'm not keeping it all to myself. I'm ready to go over it line by line with anyone willing to listen. And guys, remember, we are the Monday Gratefulness Gang. I haven't forgotten that. We're still working on gratefulness. We are still looking at being grateful every single day for the things that we're noticing. We want to be noticing the things that we have to say, I'm thankful for that because I am part of the Monday Gratefulness Gang. So Jesus is talking to us right here because we are deciding to be part of the intimacy that the Father and the Son have. That's a choice we're making. I almost dropped my glasses. I got so excited about being part of the gratefulness gang. This is where he says, are you tired? Are you worn out? Are you burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. Sometimes we're so tired and we're so worn out, we don't even realize we need to recover our lives. And we can't do it by ourselves. But he invites us to him. I'll show you how to take a real rest. You know what? Have you ever just had a day where you're just like, I just really just need a rest. I just need a day where nobody wants anything from me. Nobody's calling me. Nobody's asking me for anything. Nobody's talking to me. I have days, believe it or not, where I'm like, I need a day where no one talks to me. That's very rare and very far and few between, but I do have them occasionally where I'm like, I don't want anybody to talk to me today. But Jesus says, if you come to me, listen, I'm going to show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. They're unforced, guys. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Now, there's a continuum here. There's always a continuum in what we do with Jesus. He says, come to me. First, you got to be willing to say, listen, I need a real rest. I need a break. I need something inside of me that I know only you can do. And this isn't about activity or lack of activity. This is about what I know God can do inside of me. Because I am tired. I am worn out. I am burned out on everything that's going on around me. But he says, you know what? If you'll walk with me, and then you'll work with me, and you watch how I do it. Watch how I do it. I will show you the unforced rhythms of grace. And you will learn to live freely and lightly. And recognize in this that he said, I want you to walk with me. I want you to work with me. I want you to watch me. And you will learn how to live freely and lightly. But I've got to be willing to say, I let go of everything Jennifer thinks about what's going on because I'm tired. I'm burned out. I'm worn out. So I've got to let go of whatever it is that keeps me in this place. And I've got to decide, Jesus, I'm walking with you. I'm working with you. I'm watching how you do it. Because I want everything I do in my life to be this unforced rhythms of your empowerment working inside of me. I want that, and I choose that. So remember, we started off today, and I said, now think about your breathing. So right now, just think about your breathing. I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. I want you to think about just taking those deep breaths in, holding for a couple of counts, and then breathing out as slowly as you possibly can. Allowing yourself to slow down. Every thought that comes that has nothing to do with this meditation, I let it go. I watch it float away in a balloon. I know that I can do this by my choice because right now I choose. I choose to relax. I choose that. I want to be a part of going to my secret place and meeting with Jesus today. So I begin to imagine what my secret place looks like. Wherever feels safe to me today, I begin to imagine it. I begin to see it as it comes alive to me, as everything I notice, all of the sights that I'm seeing, cause my heart to relax. All the sounds that I'm hearing cause me to slow down. All of the things that I might smell or touch make this place just amazing in my experience. I'm walking around, noticing the beauty of this place, remembering that before the foundation of the world, he decided that he would create this place because he knew it would bring me joy. Because just as the Father and the Son have such intimacy, I, too, have been invited into that intimacy. which means as I look at this place and I hear the sounds and I notice the things around me, I know the intimacy of the Father, where He said, "You're going to love this." And I see Jesus as He walks toward me, and He's smiling. And I feel myself almost melting in His smile. Because I know how much He loves me. And I can see in His eyes that tenderness, that compassion, where He says, "You came to me today." He takes me to this place. And I see a bench. And He has me sit down. And then I see a stage. Because He wants to act something out for me. And as He gets on the stage, I begin to see the picture of whatever situation it is that I feel so heavy about. Maybe it's a family situation. Maybe it's a friend situation. Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe it's a health situation. Maybe it's a financial situation, but there's something that makes us heavy. And He said, "You came to me. And now, as you see this situation, as you see that person, whoever it is, that brings you pain, you watch Jesus. You watch Jesus as He talks to them. And you watch how He relates to them. You watch His facial expressions. And He's relating to that person or that situation that brings you such anger or such fear or such worry or such fret. And you watch Him. And you see how He remains at peace. And you see how He doesn't get overwhelmed. You're watching this dialogue. And you're amazed. How does Jesus keep His cool? How does Jesus not get upset? How does Jesus not get worried? How does Jesus not get overwhelmed? But He doesn't. Because because he's letting you watch how he does it. And as you watch it, he beckons to you. And you come up on the stage. And he gently holds your hand. And you know in that moment that you have all of the resources that he has. If you're sitting there and you've been watching him relate to a doctor who's given you a diagnosis, you realize you have all of the resources of healing. If you're sitting there watching him as he's been relating to someone that makes you angry or frustrated, you realize you have all the resources to remain at peace no matter what the other person says or does. If you're dealing with a financial situation and you've watched him sit in front of a banker who's telling you things that are not good news, you realize you have all of the resources for him to lead you. As you've watched him, something in you comes alive. Something in you says, this is what's available to me. This is what I can draw on. This is what can be mine. And in that moment, Jesus steps into you. And now it is you talking to that person, whoever it is, facing that situation, whatever it is. Except you realize in this moment, you feel free and you feel light. Not because the situation or the person has changed, but because you are different. Because you just watched Jesus walk into your situation and you watched him handle it. And you may not have heard exactly what was being said. That's the beautiful thing about what happens in our hearts, is that we don't have to know exactly what was said. We're just making the determination that he stayed at peace because we watched him. And now he has stepped into us. And this is how we watch him. We work with him. We walk with him. And all of a sudden, a situation that held power over us, we now feel free and light. And I may have to come back and watch Jesus do this 100 more times. I may have to do that. That's okay. Because I choose right now that I want to handle life the way that Jesus did. Jesus, you're my model. And if you walked and you dealt with things remaining at peace because of the intimacy between you and the Father. I choose that too. And I'll come back and I'll watch you play act this for me over and over again until my heart is persuaded that this is the truth. That heaviness is gone. I live freely and lightly in Him. Now I'll count to 5 and we'll open our eyes together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And guys, as you saw that, as you experienced that, what happens sometimes, probably every time, is that when we come back to this reality, we begin to think, well, that didn't really happen. That was just my imagination. I just made that up. Okay. Somewhere the imagination and the heart connect. And I will choose to believe, even if I feel like this was my imagination, I choose to believe that my heart connected to it. And every time I want to, I can go back and I can watch Jesus act out my situation. And I can watch him deal with it. And I can watch him respond to it. And even though I may not know exactly how he's responding in the actual words, when I need them, they'll be there. Because that's what heart work does. You have these images and you hold on to these images, these pictures, or whatever you hear in that moment. And then you trust that when I need it, it will be there. That I'll know what to say in the time that I need it. So, guys, thank you again for being a part of Meditation Mondays or Monday Meditations, whatever I call this thing. You're part of the Gratefulness Gang. That's what I should rename it, is the Gratefulness Gang. Thank you for being part of the Gratefulness Gang. You guys are awesome. Give yourselves a hand because you have made time with Jesus. And I will see you back here next Monday. I know it's the week of Thanksgiving. Many of you may be busy, but I will be here and we will probably do a meditation to deal with family. How about that? Because it'll be Monday before Thanksgiving. So I will see you guys next week. These are now all being put up in YouTube. And so what you used your invitation to be able to get in here, there's a little button that tells you can go and re-listen or redo the meditations that we've already done. So those are already being made available to you. And I think that was all I was supposed to tell you. So I love you guys. I will see you next Monday, Gratefulness Gang. Be grateful.